Okay, good morning, Bfree crew. So I just wanted to put this quick little presentation together for you, just a couple of minutes, because we're coming to the 9-day game plan, and there's some really cool things that I've sort of been sitting with, and I really want to share with you. And it's about the bigger picture of business and entrepreneurship and social enterprise and where all this sort of fits. And I hope if I can share this perspective with you, it'll give you a couple of self-realizations about where this social enterprise fits within your life and within where you're going as well. So we've all seen, I'll start off with Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant, right? So in the top left-hand corner, 95% of us, as you know, are trading time for money. And that's not a bad thing. It's just we're working for someone. And then the bottom left-hand quadrant, a lot of us go and try and start a business, and the average business costs about, just think of any business that you may have started. It might cost between $50,000 and $100,000 before you even start generating any income. And then I guess investor, most people go buy a house. So they trade time for money to buy a house. And then the average house in Australia, household, the average family is about $250,000 in debt. So we've got this debt-based mindset, thinking that we're investing in something that's going to change our future. Where we're sitting is in this top right-hand corner, which is leverage, right? So abundance is equal the value that you've got multiplied by leverage. Now, most people forget the leverage part and go work for someone or try to create something. But what we're doing is we're working with someone. We're partnering with Isogenics. We're partnering with a social enterprise and going, hey, I've only got to pay $25 to start my business rather than $50,000 to $100,000. And what I get to do is eat my overheads, all the systems, all the processes, everything's done. And all I have to do now is just go serve and help as many people as I can. So the more people I help and the more people I help them help, the more income and residual income that I build. However, like we're seeing now with the 9-day game plan, we've got to, hit the runway and then take off and then maintain that momentum. So if we do 2 really good 90-day game plans over 1 or 2 years, the chances are that we're going to keep flight and maintain it as well. Especially if we duplicate by getting people to events and that type of stuff, then what starts to happen is we develop positive cash flow. So rather than being in this negative cash flow, we start to build in a positive cash flow. So this next page was something that I got from the Entrepreneurs Institute. And this is quite cool because the whole thing there is about getting people back to a level where they're out of debt. And even to the point where, as an example, if someone, a guy that I met, Mark, he invests in houses, that bottom right-hand quadrant, and he was like, $800,000 in debt, just bought his dream home. And they were like, sell your dream house and sell it at a loss. It's like 100,000, and then go invest your time and energy into something else, because it took away all the stress. And also by being in that debt, he was getting compounded interest and blah, blah, blah. And it was keeping him in this cycle. So even though he had a lot of equity, he was still in a lot of debt. So the first step was getting into, I guess, this green zone that you see in the middle. And most of us, like I said, the average family is $250,000 in debt. So we're sitting in these survivor, victim, worker mentalities where we're stuck, and it's because of the decisions we've been making. So this is where, like, the millionaire mindset, T. Harv Eker, the Napoleon Hill book, Think and Grow Rich, all this mindset stuff is just about flipping the way that we think from being very debt-based to very survivor-based, very worker-based, to all of a sudden starting to think about leverage. So this is probably the first time that you've ever been in a social enterprise. I know it is for me, but this became the first vehicle that I really saw, and I was like, wow, it aligns with my health, it aligns with my values, and it's going to help me get out of this red level. And it has. In 3 years, it's got me from yellow, from the red level. So like I couldn't even afford to fly to events and things like that. And I was working as a physio, had 2 degrees, had a lot of value to give, but I just wasn't with the right vehicle because I was trading time for money and getting stuck, right? So now I'm in a space where I'm probably in this middle level, and to move to the higher level, it's all about, funny enough, it's about duplication. So conductor is someone that gets to the point where, they've filled their own cup. They're working and they're filling from a place of overflow, but then they start to conduct the people around them. So this is what we see as duplication. So if we had all of a sudden, me, I've shown that I can do it, and you have shown that you can do it, then you're like, well, okay, now what I'm going to do is, be like Rob and Brie Burke, is start to show other people how to do it, to duplicate that success. And this is where you can really start to work on rather than in a business. And that takes a period of time as well. And this is where you can then, start moving into different paradigms. Once you've got cash flow, you might then go, well, I'm going to start my passion project. I'm going to go give back to a charity. But it's very hard to do that when we're struggling to survive ourselves. This one is quite important as well. It comes down to this concept of team genius. And this was a real breakthrough for me, being in a space where, entrepreneurs really work together. And the biggest realization was what my strengths are. And I guess this is something that you guys can do for yourself and be like, what are your individual strengths? Mark Zuckerberg, as an example, he's the mechanics. He's the guy behind Facebook systems that process the algorithms, but he's not necessarily the person who's the star out there on stage and talking about Facebook and blah, 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 right? He's got people that help him with branding marketing because that's not his strengths. Richard Branson, he's great. He's like extroverted. He's out there. He's the brand. He's the one creating stuff, but he surrounds himself with, details people and mechanics and people so that he can actually make the dream come alive. Oprah Winfrey is a great example of a star. She gets on stage, but there's two types. There's a star that it's all about me. It's like, the ones we probably see in Hollywood, but then there's the stars that shine the light on others as well. Tully's a great example of that, where he can be on a stage, but he really likes to bring other people into the picture. And it's a different type of genius. But, me and Tully, if we get him to start sitting down doing details and finance and stuff, that type of stuff, I know it kills me. And I know it's not his strength either. So what we do is, rather than saying, that's we're just not going to do that, we get systems and process. We might get a really good accountant. We might get a really good bookkeeper. We might get a zero, platform. So all of a sudden, this part of our genius has sort of started to be filled up. And as an example as well, you got your Donald Trumps and deal makers, people who just they can sell anything. Like Donald Trump's got into almost being the president of the United States purely because of that one ability. And he's got all these other people behind him that sort of help him generate cash flow and income so that he can have influence in pretty much any paradigm. Now, not to say it's a good thing, but it's just an example. Then you got your Warren Buffetts, your traders, the people who are really, their heads to the ground. They're really grounded. They're really timing based, and they're waiting for opportunities. They're sort of listening. They're feeling. And they're really conscious of it, and they'll make decisions based on how the stars align. So the cool thing about this is we can look at our Bfree team and be like, okay, who are the people that can get up on stage quite easily and shine light on others? Who are the very creative ones? Who are the ones that can create systems? Who are the details people that can put together the spreadsheets and that type of stuff? Who are the people that are aware of timing and where we need to go? Like, we need to go to the UK next. Like, who's going to drive that? Who are the people that can leverage that team and then just go out there and do the three-way calls and make the deals? And who are the supporters that sort of sit there and will always be there to help everyone behind the scenes? And you never know how deep they're working, but they're always doing it. And I guess this is such a cool thing, because if we can each identify what type of personality we resonate, we can go and give value to the people and to our group from that space. But then all it is asking for help or surrounding ourselves with people that can add into these areas where we may not be strong. And then what that does is allows everyone to step into their strengths, go work on the basic 6 skills together, because we all need to be able to do that, but then find people that can fill in those gaps for us. And then that way we get to succeed and grow without feeling like we have to give up something of ourselves. And I guess the last thing as well is, that's the business side of things. So we're going from employee mindset, don't give up your day job, social enterprise, do that part-time in the pockets of your life. And then we're coming into, finding a social enterprise that works, having a team genius sort of approach where we're working collaboratively together. And then we want to go help people, right? And this is a really interesting thing from using the same mentality, but for health, right? Is there's a lot of people that we start helping with, and we talk about working with the ready and willing. So we're not trying to drag people. We've all probably tried it with our parents and people that are, they're chronically unwell and they're not ready. So I look at these people as being sort of like their cup's really empty, and they're probably the people that need the most help, but they're not necessarily the people who are ready and willing for change. So we can always help these people, but they're going to be a lot of hard work. And the idea is to just keep the door open and wait for them to come to us, rather than drag. And then I guess what we're looking for is these people sort of in the mid tier who are already they're conscious, they're educated, They know what they need to do. They just don't have the time. They're like, we need to find a solution to fill their need right now. And this is where we can really get in there and make a big difference, and then inspire and empower them to help and inspire those people in their life that might be in those lower levels. Because, the people down here, this might be a 2-year journey just for their health. The people here might be like maybe a 30-day or a 90-day journey, which then inspires them, empowers them straight away to get in and start sharing it. So it's just a good example of what type of people we want to attract. When you start attracting business builders, you start attracting these people that are probably already got a level of health. They just need a bit of a kick. And then they see this as a tool, and they go from being a product user and a product sharer to being like, I see this as a really cool business opportunity and a tool that I can add to my belt to impact more people. And that's where we can shift our focus to start finding different levels of people. However, to attract this level of people, we need to be a product of the product. We need to be leading through action. And they need to see that we're doing the do and walking the walk, so that they can be attracted to what we're doing. Otherwise, if we're down here, still haven't got our health, and we're trying to attract these, Warren Buffetts and big players, it might be quite hard to do that. And again, even in saying that, Charlie had a great example of this, but with the spectrum of entrepreneurship, like if you've got Zero, who's like a worker who's working at McDonald's, trading time for money, doesn't know his value or his worth yet. And then you've got the full entrepreneur, like a Richard Branson, who's out there creating all these products and probably already successful. He's probably already surpassed a step of social enterprise. So he'd probably be doing it. His point of leverage might be doing it for a point of health or to get into another network. Whereas for us, it might be we're using social enterprise as a way to create residual income, cash flow, by impacting others, by partnering, by leveraging systems and processes without having to create something ourselves, so that we can then go impact more people, and then we can get into create our own products and services, and then feed that back into the network as well. So that's it for me, guys. I just want to share that with you as a bit of perspective about the bigger picture, and hopefully that gives you a bit of some sort of insight towards your business. And I'm just going to keep adding value in whatever way I can. And at the end of the day, this might be for you, it might not be, but I'm just going to share knowledge that that holds true to me, and hopefully it's right for someone out there right now.